Coming up in the news, a summary report of the Economic Recovery Committee tabled in Parliament. A major environmental breach uncovered in the East. And COVID-19 cases climbing in the Berry Islands. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news, emergency orders have been extended to November 30th. That coming from the nation's leader today in Parliament. The Prime Minister also foreshadowed changes on tap for the cannabis laws, and it tabled a report from the Economic Recovery Committee. Jamila Mizik reports.
The nation's leader, Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, tabling a summary report of the Economic Recovery Committee in the House of Assembly Wednesday morning. He says the committee was to make specific policy recommendations for the short and medium term which could help with ongoing economic recovery. The Prime Minister noting some of the policy directions the government will pursue.
The committee has proposed a broad range of reforms and recommendations. They are intended to seed new industries and economic opportunities, or to expand existing ones, to make the Bahamas more attractive for domestic and international investment, and to make certain bureaucratic systems more efficient and less burdensome for citizens and businesses. Again, not all of the recommendations will be pursued.
The Prime Minister also acknowledging the pandemic's damaging effect on the economy.
The pandemic, Mr. Speaker, is not close to ending. We will still be in it well into next year. Bahamians should not think of this pandemic as a short-term diversion in our lives that when over will quickly lead to the resumption of how we once lived. A different world will emerge on the other side of this crisis. Even international businesses that were stapled may be no more.
Dr. Minnis noting that the country must attract more investment, both domestic and international, be willing to innovate with existing industries to open up to new opportunities and markets including tourism, and be open to reform and change.
My government will provide $250 million to Bahamian businesses over 5 years. That $1 million, Mr. Speaker, that is $50 million per year over the next 5 years. This year alone, as a result of the pandemic, we are providing $55 million to small business development.
The PM also noting that the government is reviewing the possible legalization of a hemp industry, which would include variations of cannabis low in THC.
Bahamian-owned or majority Bahamian-owned companies must and will lead to any new hemp industry in the Bahamas. Hemp is used in multiple products from clothing to building materials, and even in tea bags, such as some Lipton tea bags. There are potentially many opportunities for creative Bahamian business people to get involved in this new industry.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
The Ministry of Health releasing the latest COVID update, the numbers showing a total of 6,051 confirmed cases throughout the country. 1,258 are active and 3,633 have recovered. According to the latest dashboard, 128 new cases were confirmed yesterday, 7 in the Berry Islands, 1 in Crooked Island, 10 in Eleuthera, 5 in Grand Bahama, 104 in New Providence, and 5 with locations pending. Now, in this latest dashboard, the Ministry of Health noting that a data cleaning exercise was performed on the total confirmed cases by island, and it was discovered that some cases were from the island of New Providence and not from the family islands previously indicated. This resulted in 4 cases being subtracted from 4 islands. They are Andros, Bimini and Cat Key, Cat Island, and Long Island. There are currently a total of 119 persons hospitalized. 108 are listed as moderately ill, and 11 are in the intensive care unit. Of the total hospitalized cases, 22 are in Grand Bahama, 6 are moderately ill, 5 persons are in ICU. There have been 127 deaths to date. The latest include a 51-year-old female of New Providence, a 62-year-old male of New Providence, and a 77-year-old male of New Providence. 14 deaths are currently under investigation. There has been a gradual increase in COVID-19 infections in the Berry Islands. It is one of the islands that is a bit of concern for health officials. Tonight, a community leader in the Berries is giving his take on the situation. Here is Jamila Mizik.
At last report, the Berry Islands recorded 39 confirmed cases of COVID-19. 7 of them are newly confirmed cases, and there are 17 active cases. Community activist Kevin Wallace says he believes those cases were brought to the island.
More than surprising, because we know that we basically had a handle on our cases. Our cases were decreasing, or was not at all.
Wallace says he believes that persons entering the Berry Islands should be required to quarantine.
They should quarantine in Nassau first, before they allow them to come. Prevention, and then Nassau has all the facilities to deal with COVID cases. We're limited here. We don't really even have a facility to put people. Especially if there's a large amount of cases arise, and we're fighting for space, and so there's a lot of pressure on the Berry Islands when stuff like this happens.
And although there are a number of cases on the island, he believes that a 2-week lockdown is not necessary at this time.
Whoever shows up negative, they can fly them in. They do pass through the mainland, and they do. They come by the airlines, and then they have to ride the taxis or cars, and then the ferry boats, and so he has a possibility that the spread can become wider on the mainland if this continues. We have about 2 or 3 cases on the mainland, very minimal. They're quarantined, and so, like I say, it has been decreasing, and we want it to stay that way. We don't need it to get out of hand, or to be a wider spread. And so we're hoping that those measures be put in place.
He says there needs to be a balance between keeping the island healthy and keeping the economy going.
It's already bad, and so it definitely will get worse. And so we want to see, some economic activities come back. A lot of people hurting. There's a lot of hurt, and so I'm quite sure that people wants to get started. The cruise lines are number one industry here in the Berry Islands, and so if they can get up and running, that's a plus. But you got to put those measures in place to be able to get up and running. It's going to do.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
The hunt is on to find those responsible for an environmental hazard in the eastern part of Grand Bahama. The discovery was made early this morning. Tonight, the area's Member of Parliament and a concerned resident are speaking out, adding that such an act can cause some serious harm to the ecosystem. Rumiko Knowles reports live from our newsroom.
Several bags containing what is believed to be commercial-grade oil was discovered near Barbary Beach. The perpetrators dumped the oil near bushes. The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honourable K. Peter Turnquest, outraged, addressed the matter in Parliament.
The person or persons that are responsible for the abuse of the environment in Grand Bahama this morning, who would have dumped oil on the side of the road in East Grand Bahama. We don't know yet, Mr. Speaker, who was responsible, but I would like to update the Grand Bahamian community who have expressed concern this morning that the police have located the site of that dumping.
The discovery was made by a resident who recorded the dump site on his cell phone, and the images went viral. James Turner, a resident of the Eastern community, thanking the person for filming the illegal dumping. He says he cannot believe someone would be so irresponsible.
This is ridiculous. It is unconscionable that we as intelligent Bahamians would just drop oil and create a mess on the side of the road. Now we could see from the video that this is commercial grade material. This is not something that came from somebody's gas station or some mechanic shop. This is so many gallons, it has to have come from a commercial entity.
Turner is appealing to any one of the commercial entities recently contracting someone or a business to dispose of oil to come forward and tell the authorities who did it so they can be held accountable.
I'm a Grand Bahamian and I love Grand Bahamians. Now there are vagrants in every society, but there are very few vagrants in this Grand Bahama society. So I believe that maybe somebody made a mistake. Maybe the truck broke down, something happened that should not have happened, and they decided to discard that stuff to the side of the street for just a short while. Unfortunately, you cannot leave it there like that. The bags have already burst. Can you imagine if my daughter, your wife was driving at night, hit that oil, what happens? Are they going to go to the Rand Memorial Hospital? Don't these people already know we have a health crisis here?
Turner says this type of behavior is irresponsible, and he is offering a reward for anyone that may know who is responsible.
I'm suggesting that if you have done this, you know you've made a mistake, come and be responsible. Now, for that one vagrant who may exist in our Grand Bahama community, maybe he came from somewhere else, but I find it hard to believe he's a Grand Bahamian. I'm saying to you that our community cares enough to put up a reward, a cash reward. We're putting up $500, a starting point today, to say to any Grand Bahamian, if you know who has placed this oil to the side of the road near Barbary Beach and going up East End, you tell the police or you call somebody at JAGS International, 351-5244. Tell us who did it and we will reward you with $500.
The Deputy Prime Minister thanking sanitation services for their rapid response, adding that the matter is being aggressively investigated by police. He says those responsible will be identified and held accountable. Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Now, Equinor Oil Storage Company located in East Grand Bahama offered no official comment. However, a consultant for Equinor says the discovery is most concerning for all and that early indicators suggest that it is used product, which eliminates Equinor as the source of the oil. Nonetheless, Equinor will no doubt await the findings and facts from the relevant authorities. The release notes that Equinor remains committed to the protection of the environment. The cost of electricity among one of the top concerns for residents on Grand Bahama. Tonight, two officials in the company are addressing this and other related issues head-on. Here is Yashina Rofarkison.
Are we paying the highest rate for electricity in the region? Does GB Power take from the community and not give back? And does GB Power ever take a loss? These are some of the burning questions that Bahamians continue to pose when it comes to the local power company. We sat down with Director of Corporate Communications, Cleopatra Russell, and Director of Customer Solutions, Nikita Mullings, to get straight-up answers.
Within the Caribbean, the Grand Bahama Power Company's electricity rate is within the lower third of the Caribbean. On Grand Bahama, about 75% of our customers pays less than $200 for electricity monthly.
We are deeply rooted in the community of Grand Bahama. Our community investment initiatives spanned from East Grand Bahama to West. We are not necessarily always talking about or publicizing the work we would have done throughout the pandemic. We would have fed 500 families. We would have supported the rebuild efforts in McLeanstown through our partnership with the Rotary Rebuild and Disaster Relief here on the island. We continue to support the Children's Home. We continue to support the old folks' homes throughout the island, as well as initiatives with the Sir Charles Haywood Library, as well as our partnering with other Rotary and Kiwanis organizations.
And when it comes to the estimation of bills, many customers say this is another major issue. But the local power company contends that only in unusual circumstances does this happen.
We do want to encourage our customers that may have received more than 2 estimates for the year to reach out to our customer solutions team, as that means there may be challenges with our metermen either accessing the property or other challenges and impairments that may cause a issue with us being able to read the meter. Also, customers are encouraged to take a photo of the meter, and you can send that into our customer solutions team to validate the readings.
We are a cost of service utility. So what that means is that our charges are passed directly on to customers. Throughout the Western Hemisphere, privately owned utilities are all generally a cost of service utility, and you will find that the only utilities that are not cost of service utilities are those that are owned by the government.
And while GBPC has given tips over the years on ways to reducing your power bill, some residents say they believe these tedious practices, like turning on and off the water heater, unplugging certain items, as well as other tips, is a lot to do in an already hectic world.
We do believe that energy efficiency, when properly practiced, can truly impact a customer's bills. We do not necessarily see it as a customer changing their lifestyle, but adapting to the times. We remain committed to providing reliable, affordable power to our customers here on Grand Bahama, and in the coming weeks and months, we'll begin to work closely with them to help them with energy efficiency so that they do not feel that their lifestyle is being impacted while they're also creating a more sustainable household.
And the cost of electricity is another question many residents have asked about. Here's what these officials had to say.
About 5 years ago, we would have hedged our fuel. What that would have allowed is for us to create stability in our rates for our customers and allow our customers to better be able to manage their monthly bills. What that also meant was that when fuel was $100 a barrel or more, our customers did not see a sharp increase in their fuel, as well as customers are asking now, well, what's happening now that the cost of fuel has dropped? That means that there is still stability in the fuel, which means our fuel rate remains unchanged to 2022. So in the event that fuel takes a drastic spike once again, customers can expect to have the same rate and be able to manage their bills accordingly.
So what is the future plan of GBPC?
We are committed to open, honest, transparent communication. And within the coming months, what our customers can expect to see from us is more education and awareness around how we operate, how we do business, and improving that open, honest dialogue between us and our customers.
For further inquiries, the team is encouraging the public to visit them on their Facebook page or by calling customer service. Shashina Rolf-Farquharson, ZNS Network News.
In the Word of God, do all things without complaining and disputing. Philippians 2:14. We need to stop complaining and cry out to God. Depend on God to meet our most important need of this journey. In the world today, I know there's a lot going on, like the corona. Depend on God and put your trust in Him. We don't rely on the leaders of this world, but rely on God. We are all responsible for having our own relationship with God. It's hard to express joy in life when we are focusing on what is not working in our life. It does not, but causes unneeded stress. It gives Satan an opportunity to sneak in. It opens us up to his many lies. it gives us a poor testimony. There are times when we may feel like God is not treating us fairly. Job pointed out that God, the Creator, recipient of His generosity. We have no right to complain when He allows us to be afflicted or testing us through hardship. Complaining about your circumstances is a sin because you are not giving God a chance. If you're praying about something, don't complain about it because you're not trusting God. And we can rest assured that all things work together for good. Rejoice and count it all blessing. Tell God every thought that you're going through, asking for help. Never let Satan take away your joy in Christ. Matthew 7:7, he said, ask anything, it shall be given unto you. He said, seek and ye should find. Knock and the door will be open unto you. For everyone that asks, receive, and that seek, find. So today I'm leaving this with you. Stop complaining because it is a sin. Give God all your burden. He didn't say some of it. He said give Him all. And He will take care of you.
Stay with us. There's more right after this break.